All you need to do is just walk into the door of the museum and just see the smiles in the faces of the children here. It's wonderful to see them just hopping up and down saying, I want to be an engineer, or I want to do this, or I want to do that, full of energy.
We love the Museum of Science.
The 100,000 square feet we're going to transform through the transformation of our Blue Wing will really change everything we do in the museum. In order to accomplish a holistic change in education, you have to work both the formal education, the school world through curriculum, and the informal education. And museums offer a wonderful way in the formal education to influence not only children and educate children and adults as well. And of course, programs and exhibits are very well linked in the informal education world. So if we want the whole thing to happen, we have to work all three fronts: curriculum, programs, and exhibits.
When I think about why the Blue Wing now, it's not just a function of where we are as a society as a whole, but also it's about where Boston and Cambridge is at this particular point in time. We're developing exhibitions not only at the Museum of Science, but also for museums across the country and around the world.
So by transforming our 100,000 square feet, will truly boost the energy of science and technology education for the whole community.
What would you do with 100,000 feet of space?
I would put an aquarium in it.
I would make a gravity place.
I think of a lot of work.
100,000 square feet.
That's a big number.
Houses, a hot tub for guests,
A parking garage.
a neighborhood.
Room for kids and adults to interact with the exhibits as much as possible.
Or I could put like a big farm.
100,000 square feet is a great opportunity to build a beautiful city block that I could bring thousands of people into and make them feel at home.
I would build a factory where they make medicine for the sick and the poor.
100,000 feet is so big.
The role of programs and outreach here at the Museum of Science is the personalization. We can interpret STEM on our exhibit floors. We can also take it out on the road with traveling programs to a number of students who would never be able to come to the Museum of Science itself.
What we love about the Museum of Science is it brings the experiences here. It's right at the children's fingertips. They have that same sense of wonder, the same sense of awe, and they leave loving science.
Engineering is Elementary, or EiE as we call it, has reached about 13.5 million students and about 135,000 educators since we began it. So one of my goals is to make sure that anything we create attracts, retains, and interests all students. And we worked very, very closely with classroom teachers to design the program and make sure that it worked for real teachers in real classrooms.
We find that it engages students no matter what their academic background is. Learning by doing always grabs them.
Museum of Science programming can touch every aspect of a person's life, from when they're a child, to our school programming, to our summer courses, to our youth internships and volunteerism that begins at age 14.
I'm 80. I have friends here that are 87. One man is 91.
People who come here tend to stay here. They come as maybe high school volunteers, and 30, 40 years later, they're still here.
I was like, this place is so cool. I would love to work here. Another woman who works here was just like, you should apply to be an intern. And she disappeared around the hall. Now here I am.
A lot of the other volunteers here also help me with the language when I talk to kids, but then also how to build or add on to whatever I invent there. So it's interesting.
And then we have our exhibits. Our exhibits are the way that we facilitate learning. Visitors don't even know that they're learning. So we're really focused on using a designed medium to engage visitors in thinking about the world differently and learning STEM habits of mind.
The staff who work here, they are some of the most dedicated people who are highly committed to the mission of bringing science and engineering to everybody, regardless of who they are.
I work at the information desk, and I have been there for the past 25 years. The museum does a lot more for me than I do for the museum.
One of the things we want to ensure we can give visitors is a really unique experience and be able to come back time and time again and grow with that experience.
People are always excited to hear that you work at the Museum of Science.
Every single person here cares about the mission of the organization.
Sometimes when I'm presenting in the Theater of Electricity, it'll be dead silent and you'll just hear this small little voice from the audience go, "That was awesome!"
I think people would be interested to learn that just how much time it takes to build an exhibit. The conception, to the prototyping, to the actual fabrication, takes a large team to come together to make a single exhibit.
There are many ways to be smart, and I think engineering captures that diversity and innovation of thinking and allows children to see each other differently.
Boston and Cambridge is the hub and center of science and technology innovation. And so what we really need in our city is a place that reflects the great innovation that's happening here in our community to really foster innovative thought in the same way that our broader community does.